Hello everyone and Happy New Year! Welcome to the year 1978. It was an amazing year, many great things happened all around the world. Well, at least regarding gaming, this is comparatively quite a good year compared to what came before. Atari VCS continued dominating the market, Space Invaders came out, and this is also the year that many consider to be the start of the golden age of arcade video games. Space Invaders? A pretty remarkable game in its own right. I mean, it's very influential, it inspired many things, and it's often counted to be among the most highest grossing video games of all time, at least when you adjust for inflation. So what other special things happened in 78? Well, the video magazine featured its first ever consumer-oriented column about video games. So that's one step up for video game journalism. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Nevertheless, both the game and arcade markets continued growing through the 70s and through this year as well, though the US home console market did continue experiencing the aftermath of the 1977 crash, and it would continue to do so until the 80s. Still, the Bally Astrocade and the Magnavox Exponent 2 would release this year. The home computer market, still infinitesimally small, but it was growing and would soon become a much bigger beast in gaming, bro. I promise, bro, soon PC gaming will get big, okay? Soon. Some pretty familiar names in gaming popped up this year, at least for me they're familiar, like Koei, which would later become Koei Tecmo, and is the company behind games like Dynasty Warriors, and also Muse Software, which was the first company behind Wolfenstein, and the first one to make the Castle Wolfenstein games, a brand that would later be used by ID Software. Now, I think we have a really beautiful picture of 1978 painted. We don't need to talk about the general details anymore. Let's jump right into the games and start off, like always, with the games I did not play, but I want to talk about, though I'll keep it short. First up, Santa Paravia Fiumascio, a game made by George Blank, which is basically a game where you control an Italian city-state around the 1400s. And the goal for the game is for the player to become a king. And for that to happen, the player needs to make their own city grow. And you do this by, like, allocating resources and deciding what to build while dealing with some weather disasters, wars. I think wars? I don't remember actually anymore, but things like that. It's kind of similar to the original Oregon Trail, actually. So I did not play this game because I couldn't really figure out how, but I played a very similar game on GitHub. You can find it very easily by googling. But if I had to go off the GitHub game, I put it somewhere in the CB range, but since I can't honestly rank it, it's here. Starfleet Orion, a game made by Automated Simulations, a company which would later be known as Epix. A company behind several big-ish games of this era like Summer Games and the Temple of Apshahai. Apshahai? Yeah, I don't know. This is one of the earliest space strategy games with its own manual and lore, and essentially you just operate on a grid map with locations, ships and objects in the map. The game is turn-based and made for a 1v1 PvP experience. And each player operates one or more ships and the game continues. It's basically a text box that tells the player what's around the room, what objects are around, players, NPCs, exits from the dungeon, you know. You just type a command into the text box and something happens, and the text box tells you what happens. And what's special about it is that multiple players are interacting with the same world through their own text boxes. And this is how MUDs worked, and how MUD1 worked. In essence, this game and games like Empire and Maze War are the first online multiplayer games, really. And the entire MMO genre can be tracked directly back to the MUD genre, with the first and most popular MMOs being directly inspired by them. I mean, even before they gained the name MMORPG, the same games were called graphical MUDs, so yeah. I think it's pretty cool, but due to how online multiplayer gaming worked back then, you know, on-screen info if anyone is interested, then, you know, it's a bit tricky to really play this and have that cool experience. I did not want to go through the effort of emulating such a thing, so it's still a very cool thing to have existed, and I thought to mention it here, even if I did not play it. Now, before we jump into the games I did play, I technically did play more than 13 games, but, well... Yeah, let's just say I did not have the intended experience. But now, for the big moment of the video, the moment of the truth, let's say like it is. I'll go over the 13 games I actually played from the worst to the greatest of 1978. Number 13, Space War. Space War is a multi-directional game released by Atari for the VCS. It has 70 game modes, 13 of which are duels, and the remaining 3 are single player. You essentially just control a spaceship and try to destroy the other spaceship. Yeah, I did not like this game at all. It's amazing how it feels worse than the game it's based on, like, somehow. Maybe it's because this time I just didn't have someone to play with, but yeah, I did not find it enjoyable at all. And playing the single player modes, I was just wondering what the hell the point is. F tier. Number 12, Flag Capture. Flag Capture is a puzzle video game made by Atari for the VCS. It is based on the traditional Capture the Flag video game. You move in a grid of white squares and guess which square the flag is behind. Opening a square shows where the flag is by pointing arrows towards where the flag is. You can play it in single player or multiplayer. Yeah, I did not really like it at all. I did not see the point, and it felt very fucking boring to me. Honestly, I don't have much else to say about it. That is beating a dead horse. Yeah, F tier. Number 11, Hangman. It's a puzzle video game made by Atari for the VCS, yet again. You know, it's Hangman. You guess the word, and each guess that is wrong results in a piece added to the gallows until either you guess the word or the picture is complete and you die! Everyone knows what Hangman is, probably. Hangman with other people can be an okay time waster, but, you know, alone, I really don't like it that much. This game sounds fucking horrible. Like, I told in a previous episode that I'm not gonna mention that anymore, but I have to. It sounds fucking horrible. And as always, you gotta respect the grind for it, and I really don't like the look of it either. I don't hate it like I do many other F-tier games, at least not completely, but I still don't like it enough to put it there. It's a janky shit version of Hangman, which is kind of... and the base Hangman experience is kind of boring anyway. And this is even worse than that, so F-tier. Number 10, Dungeon Campaign. Dungeon Campaign is a video game made by Robert Clardy and later released on the Apple II by Synergistic Software in 1979, though it was made before that. In the game, you lead a party of 13 adventurers through the dungeon, gathering treasure and aiming to exit on the lowest level of the dungeon. Different members have different roles. The gameplay is depicted by different colored pixels for the party, enemies, doors, walls, traps, etc, etc. You navigate different parts of the game using keyboard shortcut commands. You've fallen down to the E tier. Number 9, Adventureland. So Adventureland is a 1978 text adventure made by Scott Adams and made for microcomputers. There is no story, you just operate as a player trying to find 13 treasures so you can beat the game. The gameplay is like any other text adventure, with you typing what you want to do into the console, and then the text to console tells you that you cannot fucking do any... Yeah, it tells you what happens, what's around you, stuff like that. So I have thoughts about this game. I like it that it's short and manageable, but it's so full of stuff like Bunyan and things I would never know if I did not Google it. Like, these types of games just aren't for me. I don't know anything the games are referencing. I'm not super into puzzle games anyway, so this feels so unfair and impossible. It really stretches my patience to its limits, you know. It even lacks a sense of place like other text adventures, like Colossal Cave and Zork. The text parser is very simple, it's kind of shit, but it just gives you some easy treasures which kind of feel rewarding and gets you on track to try more. But I really lost my mind at the caverns and mazes since I couldn't get back up, and it's so easy to softlock so many times in this game. I know that this game could be completed with trial and error and an accurate map, but I really did not have time to do that, and most importantly, maybe the patience and desire to do that. So I can only say that I really disliked my time with it, and out of spite, I'm gonna put it in the E tier, though it's probably a D tier game. Number 8, Beneath Apple Manor. Beneath Apple Manor is a roguelike game that was released in 1978 by Software Factory, and it was written by Don Worth for the Apple II. It was one of the first video games that also used procedural generation, and one of the first big-ish games made for the home computer, instead of the mainframe or the console. In the game, you basically navigate through a dungeon to get a golden apple while fighting traps and monsters and stuff like that. Now, Beneath Apple Manor is actually a really interesting game, as it is usually considered a roguelike category, I found. But it actually predates Rogue by 2 years, since Rogue came out in, I think it's 1980, actually, yeah. And what's more interesting is that neither of the game's creators had any idea of each other's existences when they made their games. Which is, I mean, I don't know if it's wacky, but it's kind of interesting. Yeah, anyway, I have to get this out of the way. I actually kind of like this game, and there is only one real fatal flaw that bumps it all the way down. It actually has okay sounds for its time. Like, I'm more gentle on these old games when they have shit presentation because, well, you know, the limitations of the technology. The graphics are absolutely fine as well. The exploration and the options it gives you at the start is actually really mind-blowing. It gives you so much freedom to edit the game. It kind of crazy, actually. And it's all of that is great. It's an okay time, actually, kind of. But holy fucking shit, I have never played a game that is this unresponsive or slow. Like, everything is so ridiculously slow. And when you add in the old game jank, the game design where you have to press inspect everywhere to maybe find something, and everything takes a million fucking years to process your command. Oh, it's so shit. It feels so bad. It actually feels so bad. And yeah, it really bumps it down from like a C tier to honestly an F tier or an E tier. But I'm kind of biased since I kind of respect this game, so I'm gonna give it a D tier. Number 7, Outlaw. Outlaw is a 1978 shooter video game developed by David Crane when he worked at Atari, and the game was made for the VCS. The gameplay features 2 characters trying to shoot each other, with obstructions and such getting in the way. There is also a single-player mode where you can shoot targets, and yeah. If you watched the previous episodes, you should know that I talked about gunfight and western gun. And this is basically the same thing. But I like it more, and it plays better and looks better, but it's still not a super great game and a clunky experience. So it's kind of okay, but the very important thing is that this is a multiplayer game primarily, and I did not play it in multiplayer, so it got really dull really quick. But I think if I had given it a go with someone else, it could have maybe been a C tier, if not a B tier, but that's kind of high, so yeah. Anyway, my experience is D. Number 6. Philips Video Pack Cartridge number 1. This is the first cartridge for the Philips Video Pack. It contains 3 different games that vary from each other, though are very similar to games that have been played before. Speedway is just the player racing down a road dodging cars, Spin Out is just navigating a maze with a car, and Cryptogram is a 2-player game where the other player has to guess from scrambled letters what the other wrote. Now let's break this down. Speedway Race, it's almost a B tier game. It's kind of fun and fine to me, but I feel like the easy difficulty is way too brain dead. Well, the harder difficulty I haven't mastered yet, but it does click, I guess, decently, so I feel like it could be B tier. But it does feel like a bit, going from 1 to 1000, so I don't know if it's really good. I'm going with my gut and saying it's somewhere around okay. While Spin Out, it's just the same track, it's easy to memorize, no difficult controls, I really don't like it. Maybe with more speed and variety I'd like it more, so that's D. And Cryptogram, I did not have anyone to play it with. So let's just say this is an okay game you can play by yourself. You know, I guess it's fine. So overall, I think this is actually a C tier experience. Number 5. Fairchild Video Cart 21. Bowling. This is a video cart made for the Channel F in 1978 by Fairchild. It's the 21st video cart and it's just bowling. You can try to knock down as many of the 10 pins as possible, and you can affect the lane position and the curve of the ball once you've thrown it, but only once. I feel like it's okay. I like it. It's very simple and almost nothing, but it's fun in its own way. I feel like this and the next year's Atari Bowling are almost the same for me, but spoiler alert, the next year's one you can affect where you start from, while in this one it's a timed thing, so, you know, whatever fits your bill. Anyway, I mean, I don't know, this is a C tier game. Number 4, Super Breakout. Super Breakout is a 1978 game developed and published by Atari for the arcades. It's an upgrade to the Atari's previous game, Breakout. So you just bounce a ball into blocks and break them and try to avoid the ball falling into the void. The feeling I get playing this game is a very muted enjoyment. So I guess I could say I like it and it deserves B tier since I like it, and that's the definition I almost always use for that tier. And that would be totally understandable. And I kind of do like this game. It's not a lie or an over-dramatization or anything, but I do feel this sense of emptiness, that like something isn't clicking with me, that something is missing. And while the basic idea is solid and kind of fun, I mean, I talked about this before, maybe it's just not for me. I don't know. It feels like something is missing. And the more I listen to them, some of the sounds really do sound kinda okay now. And maybe even good for their time. I do feel like there is this sort of emptiness when bouncing the ball from the top to the bottom. Some seconds spent staring at the ball, just moving around doing nothing. Yeah, I'm a TikTok fried, brain fried modern gamer, but I just feel like there's something off about the pacing. Like, it's slow in a weird sense. I don't know if I want to ramble about it, since it's kind of slow and then BAM! It's just super high intense, and yeah. And since I don't have the original paddle controller, moving the paddle around feels a bit bad too. Though it's nowhere close to some of the shitty controls that just exist. I was really torn between putting this in the B and C tier, but since I have so many mixed feelings, I'm gonna put it into the C tier. But I do think this is one of the stronger games that have come out thus far in gaming. Number 3, Space Invaders. Yes, I did put Space Invaders, the legendary game of 1978, only in 3rd place. So, Space Invaders, it's a shoot-'em-up video game developed and published by Taito for arcades. It's a game where you control a gun and try to shoot rows of aliens that slowly make their way down the screen to you, and the more you kill, the faster they come at you because of a glitch. Or at least, well, it's not really a glitch, it's just that the machine can process the game faster as there are less things moving on the screen. It's one of the first endless gameplay kind of games and a fixed shooter, and hugely influential for video games as a whole. And at least in my experience, almost every gamer has heard of it, at least pre-modern gamers. You know, the bug, or whatever you want to call it, that adds tension to the game the more you kill enemies. I think it's a good feature overall, because, you know, it really adds tension and makes the game a bit more exciting. That being said, the Atari 2600 version I play on this footage, it sucks. I don't like the flickering of bullets or screen or enemies, and how it's so confusing not seeing where the bullets go and come from. It feels weirdly buggy and broken. That being said, the game itself is okay and makes for a fine experience, even if I don't like it as much as some people tend to like it. And considering the types of games that Space Invaders invented, I prefer the ones that are more like Galaxian. I still recognize how big the game is for its time and how influential and blah 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 blah. I respect the game. But in the year of our Lord 2025, when I played this game for the first time on the Atari 2600, I can say I wasn't super into it, so I'll put it into the C tier. Number 2, GB. GB is a pinball game that has elements of a block breaker game in it. Published by Namco in Japan and outside of Japan by Gremlin Industries. In the game, you control the paddles and try to avoid the ball falling in, just like in pinball. The goal is to score as many points as possible by deflecting a ball against the bricks, bumpers and other things in the playfield. The developer Toru Iwatani is also the creator of Pac-Man and Pole Position. Can I just say, finally a B-tier game. Finally. I actually like how it looks visually. This might actually be the first game I like visually. I don't exactly remember the previous games. There might be one or two that I like visually as well, but this actually might break the record of the first old game I like visually. The sounds are fine too, and the gameplay is better than in Pinball or Breakout due to the duet going on here. I feel like the worst thing about the game and holding it back is the weird pacing that's so hard to get right, where it's either so slow or crappy impossible and fast. But whatever the case is, I think it's a high 6 out of 10. Or maybe even a 7, so it's basically a 6-7. You know, it's basically a low B for me. And even if it does feel fairly bullshit, and it's probably just because I'm shit at the game, it's still fun for me. And fun, if a game is actually this fun for me, I'm gonna put it into the B tier. Number 1, Fairchild Videocart 16. Dodge it. So, as you can see from the title, Dodge It is the 16th video card made for the Channel F by Fairchild. It's a sports game similar to Dodgeball, where 1 or 2 players that are represented by small pixels or squares, whatever, have to avoid balls spawned in by the computer. You can control the size and speed of both characters and the balls, as well as the size of the room. So, kind of surprisingly a lot of customizability. Honestly, kind of a hidden gem. Thankfully, I actually tried this out. Games like this make me feel happy that I'm going through this fucking project and swimming through so much garbage, because it's basically just pixel dodgeball, and I think there is actually a very easy way to game the system, but when I don't try to game the system and I try to just dodge things, I love doing that, and dodging the fucking lasers or pixels or balls, whatever, it's rudimentary, but it's actually really fun for me. Not fun enough to, well, how should I say this? It's not an A-tier game, even in spite of that, because, you know, it's very easy to metagame, and there's actually fucking Diddy sound design, and it blasted my ears on default settings. It's horrible, but compared to some jank and bugginess and that, I actually think it's fun enough to warrant a B tier. I really think it's probably the highest quality game I've played so far. So that's 1978 left behind. Once more, another year down, and gaming continues to progress. Computer games have come. Other consoles have come. Very happy if historical events have come. So now we leave behind 1978. All the games that were graciously gifted to us, as well as the fun historical events, and continue the progress of gaming into the big 79, where games like Asteroids came out, vector graphics got more popular, and the VCS just kept getting on more popular. And even Activision, a very, very famous name in gaming as of today, started laying its roots. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed 1978, and I'll see you in the new year of 1979. Merry Easter.